What's up, guys? Welcome to the 9th installment of the 2026 MLB Team Preview series, hosted by your boy, the Bat Boy. Appreciate you guys for watching all these. This has been a successful 8 preview run so far. I appreciate all of the views and all of the interactions, comments, likes, the whole 9. I appreciate it all. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I'm learning a lot. Now that spring training has actually started, I'm getting to watch some of the people that I'm talking about, which is pretty cool. Before I get into it, I want to give a shout out to W Energy. The link is in the description. Go there, check them out. They got a lot of flavors. They got a lot of hats. They got a lot of shakers. They got a lot of cool stuff. So go check them out. Use promo code BATBOY, get 10% off, and I appreciate that as well. Let's get right into it. 2025 recap. The Rays went 77-85, finished 4th in the division. Have missed the playoffs back-to-back years now after making the playoffs 5 years in a row from 19 to 23. Just 2 very subpar seasons. And being a Yankee fan, I've watched the Rays relatively closely for most of my life because they've always kind of been a little thorn in the side. They're never dominant on paper. They're never flashy, but they always seem to just play really good baseball. But these last 2 years haven't been very Rays-like. Notable transactions, they've added a good bit, actually. They signed Steven Matz, starting pitcher, 2 years, $15 million. They also signed starting pitcher and relief pitcher Nick Martinez for 1 year, $13 million. And signed outfielder Cedric Mullins, who is prototypical Rays outfielder, 1 year, $7.5 million. They also received infielder Gavin Lux, which I think is also a Rays-like acquisition, but I love him on this team. We'll get into that later. Got him from the Reds. They received Ben Williamson, third baseman from Seattle, and received Jacob Melton, outfielder from Houston. They lost Brandon Lowe, traded him to Pittsburgh. Lost starting pitcher Shane Baz to the Orioles, outfielder Josh Lowe to the Angels, Jake Mangum and relief pitcher Mason Montgomery both went to Pittsburgh as well. And then they lost Pete Fairbanks, starting pitcher Adrian Hauser, and utility man Christopher Morel to free agency. I don't know what to make of the losses. I think Pete Fairbanks is going to hurt. Outside of him, I mean, Shane Baz, maybe. Adrian Hauser, maybe. But I like the ads a lot more than I worry about the losses. Spring training. Injuries have hit a little bit. Shane McClanahan is in a current injury. That's been an injury that has seemingly gone on for a decade. It hasn't, but it's felt like it. He had nerve-related arm surgery. Should be ready for opening day. Could be pushed a little bit into April. Hasn't pitched since 2023. They really need him back. And then shortstop Taylor Walls, who was projected to be the opening day shortstop over Carson Williams. He had a sports hernia surgery. He should be ready for opening day, but again, could move into April. We're not really sure yet. Things I'm going to be watching, though, Gavin Lux. I think this is a prototypical and just a savvy Rays-like addition. This is what they do. This is their Ben Zobrist. They love these guys, and they just seem to, wherever they came from, they seem to excel in Tampa. He could play multiple positions. He could play second. He could play third. He could play left. He has dabbled at short. Extremely low chase rate. He doesn't swing outside the zone. He takes a lot of pitches. He's 81st percentile in walk rate. He's 96th percentile in chase rate. He's a solid defender. He's not great, but he's not going to hurt you. This is the guy that the Rays love. Put the ball in play. You can play all over the field, and you're just a good quality baseball player. So I'd like to see how he transitions to Tampa Bay. I'm sure it's going to be seamless. This just seems like an organization that is built to get the most out of guys like this. Previously mentioned Shane McClanahan. I think Shane McClanahan is going to be the X factor for this team in 26. If he's healthy, this may be the best add that the team makes. If he's not healthy, I can see them struggling and missing the playoffs again. He's returning from just a litany of injuries. Hasn't pitched since 2023. However, from 21 to 23, he looked like he was going to be the ace of the future. 10 plus strikeouts per 9, sub 3 walk per 9, ERA plus of 118, 144, 128 in those 3 years. Back-to-back All-Star nods in 22 and 23. Came in 6th in Cy Young voting in 2022. I mean, he just seemed like he was going to be the ace of the Rays for the foreseeable future. And then injury just struck and struck and struck. Like I said, if he can return to that form, I don't know how easily he'll get back into it. But if he can, I mean, that's going to be a huge difference maker for this team. And then Carson Williams is another guy I'm going to be watching, waiting for him to finally grab hold of that shortstop position. Taylor Walls is in line to play it right now, but he's got some injury concerns. Carson Williams has been a highly touted prospect for quite some time. He made his debut last season, wasn't great. 32 games, he hit 172, made 5 errors at short. In just those 32 games, not great. He's a career 247 hitter in the minors, but he has shown 2020 upside. He's got some pop, he's got some speed, but he's not a great defender, and he hasn't shown the bat-to-ball skills that teams like the Rays really value. He's played 447 games at shortstop in the minors, which is roughly 2.5 Major League Baseball seasons, and in that time span, he's committing about 15.5 errors per 162 games. That's not great. And that's in the minors. So that can potentially accelerate in the big leagues, or potentially you can run into a coach that can alleviate some of those issues. I think if any team's going to be able to do that, it'll be the Rays. We'll see. Right now his defense is a concern. His offense hasn't been great. And Taylor Walls has been decent. But let's get into the shortstop conversation a little deeper. Position battles, shortstop. I just talked about Carson Williams, so I'll go into depth about Taylor Walls a little bit more. Given health, because he did just have surgery, he is a much better defensive option. He led Major League Baseball at 14's runs saved above average at short in 2025. He also led the MLB in range factor per 9 innings. This is a stat I didn't know about, but it essentially takes your putouts plus assists, divides it by 9 innings, and basically comes up with a range factor. And he led at Major League Baseball. So whatever stats it takes, whatever data gets put into this formula, he came out on top. It's got to be good. However, bat's not great. Low average, low power. He does have speed. He's got 30 stolen base upside if he gets a full season. However, in the past 3 seasons, he's never gotten above 78 OPS plus. 68 last year, 55 in 2024. So, not great. Neither, I think, are awesome options. Do you want the pop, or do you want the speed and defense? Is basically what it's going to come down to. Or, which one of them is healthy? It could come down to that too. Outfield, also, hard to judge here. They got a lot of options. But the Rays historically like to play matchups, likes to play the hot hand. They like to move guys around the field. They love a utility guy that can move around. They like speed, they like defense, etc., etc., etc. They got a bunch. Currently projected starters are Cedric Mullins, Jake Fraley, and Chandler Simpson. Chandler Simpson obviously has, let's just be generous and say he's got 70 stolen base upside. That might be being generous. It might be 90 with a full season, and if he can get the ball and play a little bit more often. One of the fastest people I've ever seen in baseball. But they also got Johnny DeLuca, they got Justin Henry Malloy, they got Jacob Melton that they just acquired, all vying for at-bats. Injuries could play a role. Defense could play a role. Cold streaks could play a role. These are not awesome offensive options by any means. So this spring, I'll be watching them because it'll be interesting to see who takes control of one of those outfield spots. I find it hard to believe that Cedric Mullins isn't going to get one of them. I feel like he's going to be your center fielder. But then you got Jake Fraley and Chandler Simpson. Chandler Simpson is strictly speed. And then you got other guys that are vying for at-bats. So we'll see what happens in the spring. Player focus time. Junior Caminero broke out in a big way in 2025. So I wanted to take a minute to talk about him. He will be participating in the World Baseball Classic, so we will get to watch him represent Team Dominican Republic, which is another loaded team, probably the second best team behind the USA. Loaded team. Expected weighted on base average, expected slugging, average exit velo, barrel, hard hit, bat speed, elite. Bat speed is 100%, 100th percentile. All the others are in the low to mid 90s. I mean, just absolutely elite. However, squared up percentage, sweet spot, chase, whiff rate, walk rate, all well below average. It seems like it's one end of the spectrum or the other end of the spectrum. There's no middle ground. He's dominant in hitting the ball hard when he hits it. He's also dominant in swinging and missing. So you get a little bit of both, but he's, on a team full of speed and a team full of defense, he's that bat in the middle of the order that's going to terrify a pitcher. Last year, at 264 with 45 home runs, 110 RBIs, 131 OPS plus, and 131 OPS plus when you have a on-base percentage that's just a tick above 300, that's impressive. I would like to see him get a little more patient. On-base percentage needs work, but the average, if you're going to give me a guy that's going to hit 45 bombs and he can hit 264, maybe we could bump that up to 270. That's just, Aaron Judge is in a league of his own with being able to hit 330 and hit 50. That's not common. It's just not a thing. Generally speaking, you get the guys like Eugenio Suarez who are hitting 40 and batting 230. Kyle Raleigh, the guys that are hitting 60 and batting 230. That's what you get. When you get a guy hitting 270 that can hit 45, hit potentially 50 home runs, that's not common. That's a luxury that many teams would kill for. Fielding, however, atrocious. Awful defensively. I would love to see him turn into a DH. Led Major League Baseball with 18 errors at third base. 5 defensive runs saved below average. However, and it may just be kind of fluky, but he led Major League Baseball with 27 double plays turned from the third base spot. Take that for what it's worth. I don't know what to make of it. I just thought it was interesting. It's not generally a stat that I see very often, so wanted to make note of it. Like I said, very polarizing season. Top end elite metrics, some really bottom end putrid metrics. Obviously, you would like to see the elite metrics stay there and the bad ones come up. But if we got to find some middle ground, that's fine with me. Give me a little bit of middle ground. Get on base a little bit more. But you're there for power. That's what he's there for. He's the power guy that the Rays historically really haven't had, especially at this age. So, very interested to see how he follows that up and what he does in 2026. 2026 outlook. I'm not sure how to feel about this team. Like I said, this team has always been kind of like, what's the word? They've just always been pesky. That's a good word. They've always been pesky. And some years they've been really good. They've been a 100-win team. They've gone to a World Series. They haven't won one yet, but they went recently. This is a team that has the potential to be really, really good. However, this division is going to be brutal. I think the Yankees, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, and the Red Sox all could potentially win 90 games. I think this is going to be a brutal division. You got to play 52 of your games against those guys, and then you got to worry about the rest of the league. I think that's going to make things difficult for them. McClanahan's going to be a big X factor. Lineup should be fine. I think the lineup is going to be fine. I really do. I think they got a good mix of speed. They got a good mix of bat-to-ball guys, and they got Junior Caminero there in the middle. Bullpen is okay. If McClanahan does not pitch, that bullpen's going to look worse because your starting rotation is going to be worse. But, again, I think it's just going to come down to the brutality of the AL East. I think the AL East is back. The AL East has always been known for being a brutal division. It got a little weak there in the mid-20 teens, but I think it's back. I think, this is going to be a brutal... I could see 3 of these teams getting to the playoffs, and I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be one of them. That's all I got, folks. Thanks for tuning in. W Energy, link is in the description. Batboy, promo code. Get 10% off. Go enjoy a delicious drink. I recommend grapefruit citrus, but I am partial to grapefruit drinks. Go check them out. And give us a like, a subscribe. Subscribe for the kids. If you're going to do it for anybody, subscribe for the kids. And I appreciate y'all. I will see you guys tomorrow with the Athletics. Don't have a city yet, but the Athletics will be on tomorrow. That's a team that I'm cautiously optimistic about. So we'll get into them tomorrow. See you guys.